Well, the weather in the UK the last week has been insane. We've had Storm Eunice, now Storm Franklin. This is just crazy. During this time, it's especially important to be vigilant of those around you. During this time, just imagine how difficult it would be outside without a home. So please be considerate of homeless people. If you are walking by and they look like they're in need of help, just ask if they need help. Alternatively, now's a great time to consider buying a big issue. All of that money goes to great causes to help those in need in the UK. But also, do Google SWEP. Your council might be offering emergency shelter during these extreme weather conditions. So if you do have 5 minutes, just go out of your way to see if your council provide that, and you telling someone that there may be a place for them to go might be a lifesaver. So please do consider doing that. Today I'm going to be heading out for about 30k at somewhere around my marathon pace, so somewhere around the 4 minute per kilometre. As the weather forecast is meant to be slightly nicer this afternoon with a bit less wind, I'm going to go down to the track just so I'm in somewhat of a safe running environment, but also I'm going to have headwind and tailwind, so I hope it will be somewhat balanced. For the track, I'm going to be chucking the Alpha Flies on my feet today. I'm also going to take along my heart rate monitor just to make sure I'm running in the right sort of zone. I'm also going to take my watch just to track my pace, and I'm also going to take some energy gels. Thank you to my friend Bianca for donating these gels. I always appreciate any help I can get, whether it's gear, advice or gels. I really appreciate all of the kindness that comes my way. So the marathon training is well and truly underway. I'm about 6 weeks away now, 6 and a bit weeks, and I'm very, very excited. And I'm feeling really fit for it too. I've changed some friends recently and they were quite surprised to hear that the vast majority of my training was done at quite a slow pace. I've got a training plan that I'll put up on the screen now, which runs from Monday to Sunday, and you know, it's a pretty strict plan, but really I'm doing all of this by feel because I think it's really important to find a balance, not only in training but in life, of course. But with the majority of my runs throughout the week, I'm in this school of thought that I should be running slower to run faster. Now obviously this sounds counterintuitive at first, but I promise, stick with me, because there is method to the madness, shall we say. This school of thought isn't original to me. It's well established really in the endurance running community that what we call zone 2 running is key to building your aerobic engine, essentially your cardiovascular system that supports stamina and endurance. Zone 2 training for me is about this pace. I've got my watch turned away from me now, so I can't tell you what that is, but I can tell you what it feels like, which might be useful to those of you out there who are new to this whole zone 2 malarkey. So zone 2 should be a comfortable, easy effort. It should be sustainable. You should be able to talk while you're doing this effort, and you should feel relatively confident keeping this up for a duration of time. The benefits of zone 2 range massively from cardiovascular to muscular. So our cardiovascular system benefits from zone 2 training because we're raising our heart rate slightly in the window of about 130 to about 145 beats per minute. Now, you don't need a heart rate monitor to do zone 2 training, although it helps. You can also use the calculation shown on screen, 170 minus your age, to find sort of the top end of your zone 2 window. Now, why am I bringing zone 2 training up in this video? Firstly, I think it's really important to consider that I do have these big targets. I do have the sub 250 marathon on my mind, and ideally I'd like my 10k to be around 35 minutes. So I've got these goals for the year, and you'd think the natural way of attacking these goals would be to just do loads of fast running back to back, but actually we know from research that zone 2 training, by exercising the cardiovascular system in a slightly slower and stress-free way, we can actually allow ourselves to run a lot more without the risk of injury, but also to recover quickly. So that brings me on to the muscular benefits of zone 2 training. Now, this isn't going to be for everyone. It's mostly going to be for those that have a bit of running experience, but slowing your runs down, just this nice zone 2 window, will actually have a recovery effect on the legs and the upper body. So to give you an example, my 5k race pace, my 5k park run pace is about free 30 kilometre. Now, I at the moment am running about 85k a week. I'm going to be moving towards 100k in a couple of weeks near the marathon. If I went out and did that 85k week at my 5k pace, that free 30, firstly, I would be knackered. I'd be way more likely to be injured just because of the sheer amount of demand I'm asking of my muscles. But I also just wouldn't really enjoy running that much. Whereas on days like today, where I can go out for a nice slow warm-up for my track session today, I can enjoy this lovely zone 2 pace. I can enjoy the running that I'm doing, not be at risk of burning myself out cardiovascularly or any of the negatives that come from overtraining or overexerting energy. And there's another side of zone 2 training that I particularly love, and that is the meditative side of zone 2 running. And the only way I can really illustrate what zone 2 running is like for me is by imagining a hose pipe that, after pumping water through really aggressively, over time those hose pipes, they kink and they create loops in themselves and they become tangled up, and over time that pressure can't pass through the hose pipe the same as it did on day 1 of water running through that hose pipe. If you were to really lower the pressure of that hose pipe and just to let water just ease through it, you'd find that over time those kinks and the loops that have formed in the hose pipe will slowly start to straighten themselves out over time. They start to untangle. That water that's being pushed out at slightly less pressure is going to be running through a hose pipe, is ready for high pressure. And in a way, this is how I imagine my body to react to my exercise. If I was just to be doing that fast 5 kilometre pace all week, you could imagine how tangled and how kinked my hose pipe would be, all puns intended. Now, I think the same can be said for our mind, and I'm a big believer in positive thinking and in visualization, and I've spoke previously on this channel about the power of mindfulness in my life. I'd like to put forward the idea that in many ways it's as important to take care of the mind, to do some zone 2 training on the mind than it is on the body during our running week. So some practices that I like to incorporate during my running week for my mind is just to take 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or even 2 minutes, just whenever I can, just to practice the meditation. So sometimes for my meditations I use Headspace. Sometimes I listen to flute sounds on YouTube. Other times I open my window and I listen to the birds chirping outdoors. Or other times I just sit in silence and let the world pass by. The main thing that I concentrate on when I'm meditating is just to bring my attention to my breath. Just to enjoy the moment that I'm in without needing to change or wanting to get clarity on anything in my head. I just take that moment just to be in that moment. And you might think, Scott, I'm too busy to be taking the time to meditate. I can meditate during the night when I haven't got things to do. The truth be told is, firstly, when we're sleeping, our brains are very active and they are in a completely non-meditative state. And secondly, letting these things happen on autopilot as part of your daily routine really isn't meditation. Meditation should be deliberate and it should be well considered as part of your plan. So I like to do this sometimes before runs, sometimes after, sometimes as soon as I wake up. But regardless, I really make the time to implement meditation into my routine. And just as I use the hose pipe analogy for running and for how my legs and my cardiovascular system would feel if I pushed pressure through that hose pipe really hard all the time, the same can be said for our minds. And I'm a true believer that our body and mind is interconnected. They are one, and in order to have a healthy body, we need to have a healthy mind, and vice versa. So just consider how you can implement zone 2 training into your own lifestyle or into your own mental exercises or meditation practice. So now we're almost at the track. I'm feeling fantastic. We're about 3k into this warm-up. Legs are feeling really good today, so I'm going to get my shoes on and see you on the track. All right, we're here at the track. It's lovely and windy down here, and we've got a few spots of rain coming down, but you know what, I'm not going to be able to control the day of the marathon, so I'm going to take this as practice for the big day. The Alpha Fly's on feet today. How good do they look against that track? I can't wait to do a long run in these Alphas. I'm going to be running at marathon pace today, 4 minutes per kilometre. So without further ado, I'm going to get warmed up, I'm going to get some drills in, and then I'm going to crack on with this 30k. See you on the other side. That's an hour into the run, 14k. So a little bit under my target marathon pace, but my goodness, this is really the beauty of training, that I'm able to stop, gather my thoughts, get some electrolytes in, because my goodness, running into this wind is hard. I'm having to work so much harder than usual to keep up this 4 minutes per kilometre pace, but honestly I'm grateful for this 6 weeks out from the marathon to experience such a hard day today, just to feel this weakness and to know that I do have strength on other days. It's really an important lesson. So I'm just going to sip some electrolytes, I'm going to have a little stretch, and then I'm just going to put my headphones in and enjoy this last 16k. And that is 30k done. It was 75 laps of the track. Not the easiest day of training of my life, but you know what, we'll take it. Still, as I say, 6 weeks out till Brighton Marathon, so feeling fantastic for that. For the time being, I'm going to go and get some nutrition in, and then I will report back once I'm home. And we are home. That was a hard morning of running, to say the least. Didn't go exactly as planned with the weather, but you know what, I'll take it considering the conditions. That was sort of 2/3 of a marathon today, so I'm really happy with the performance. So I did 14k at that marathon pace, and then another 16k or so at quite a nice 5 minutes per kilometre pace. Felt really good this morning, although I do feel really tired now. I've just checked my watch and I've burned 4,000 calories. Straight after the run, I went to Tesco and I bought a meal deal plus some extra other bits, and I absolutely devoured it on my walk home. So I've got a little bit more to eat now to replace those calories and those salts that I just burnt. I'm gonna have some avo on toast now. Gonna have a couple more bananas and as much water as I can stomach. Got work to do for the marathon in 6 weeks time, but you know what, all in all, we'll take each long run as it comes. Guys, stay tuned for more marathon content, but as always, thanks so much for watching. See you in the next one. Got to stay positive, got to enjoy the struggles, because my goodness, the wind, the rain, the occasional bits of sun in my eyes, it's an insane day to run, but let's do this.